Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to Peer-to-Peer Mentoring Volume 2, or the second video. I was supposed to post this Sunday night, but I accidentally deleted it, so that's why I'm doing it today, Monday night. Today we're going to talk about investing money. We're going to talk about savings accounts. We're going to talk about some of the myths with investing, with investments. We're going to get right to it. One of the myths that I used to believe myself was that, for example, one day I was going to have $10,000. I was going to invest it all in the stock market, and in a couple months, maybe a year or so, I was going to get back thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. Well, come to think of it, when I started researching and figuring out how investment really worked, that is outrageous. That's an outrageous thing to think about. So I was completely wrong. I mean, stuff like that does happen, but I mean, the odds of that happening is the same as you winning the lottery. They're pretty high up there. So if you think that that's what investment is all about, is you getting, crazy amounts of money in return, then, you're going to come up with a rude awakening, because that's just not how it works. One of the best examples that I've got for you is if your investment has high risk, then it would have higher amounts of return on your investment. But what does that mean? If your money is in higher risk, that means that you can lose your money a lot easier trying to chase after those returns. Especially if somebody comes up to you and tells you, hey, let me get $10,000 from your hard-earned money, and I'm going to get back to you 80% or 100% or 1,000%. One of the questions, one of the red flags, that would put out a red flag for me personally. Then I would start asking a lot more questions, like, what are you going to do with my money? What's the risk to it? What's the risk percentage? Exactly. What are you doing? I want to see proof. This, and that. And usually when that happens, people are going to get like, whoa. They'll slow down a bit. They'll start, being a little, at least I guess I would assume. I've never had that happen to me personally, but I've heard stories, read articles and stuff like that do happen to people, and they don't, they just focus on the rewards, thinking that, I'm going to get 100% of my money, we get back $20,000 back when he's done with it. But they fail to ask a question like, what happens if, what are you doing? What happens if I don't get that money back? Do I lose all my money? Do I get all my money back, or what? And most of the time, you lose everything. Now, there's another scenario too, is the less risk that your money is, the less return you'll get back. But I mean, if you're, if you put on a really low risk, for example, I can't think of anything right now, but if they tell you, hey, let me borrow $10,000 and you'll get back 5-10% in a year or so, and people go like 5-10%, that's not a lot. But then they go like, yeah, I guarantee your money. I'll make sure that money's there, and then you'll get your 5-10%, and that's a lot more feasible. So depending on what they're doing, you ask the same question, what you're going to do with the money and everything. But I mean, if you think it was a good idea, then make sure you check everything off, and you'll be like, okay, that sounds reasonable. Well, but a lot of people wouldn't do it. It's just, you decide what you're going to do with your money for 5-10%. It's just based on what type of person you are and how hard you want your money to work for you. Now, one of the things that I actually wanted to dive into that was really important for me, and that I learned not the hard way, but I learned it at a late. I wished I would have known before, but to learn it late is way better than to never learn it right. So I hope everybody learns this there's this by the time you're done with this video. And we're gonna talk about savings accounts. Now, I went online and actually checked what the average yield on savings account is, so the return on your investment. So when you're actually putting your money in your savings account, you're actually investing, whether you know it or not. You're actually investing, and what you get back from a savings account is 0.06% on the money that you have. Now, if you want an example, is if you had $10,000, we'll go back to the $10,000. If you have $10,000 and you leave it there for a year, then your money would actually make $6 just by it sitting there. Now, $6 is not a lot of money, right? And I was reading online that same article that said that there's even some on online banks that you could put your same $10,000 and put it on a 1% on an account that'll give you back 1% every year. Now, what that happens is it jumps up to $100 a year. If you leave $10,000 sitting there for a year, you would get $100. Now, a lot of people go like, hey, $100 without me doing anything in a year, that's not that bad. But what, a lot of people don't know is there's this thing called inflation. Now, if you leave your money sitting in the bank account or underneath your mattress or underneath a rock or wherever, you have your hiding place for your money, if you don't spend it, inflation spends it for you. And the rate that inflation is going, the average inflation rate per year is 3.22%. So what does that mean? That means that your money is losing its value, meaning you're losing money whether you spent it or not, especially in these savings accounts. Now, I learned in a seminar a couple months ago that, who taught you how to save money? The guy that was speaking. So what I remember, in my head, I didn't raise my hand or nothing, but I told him, I said in my head, yeah, well, my parents told me. They always told me, hey, Houston, you got to save money. You got to save money. Have it in your savings account for those emergencies or whatever you're gonna buy. But the real question that he was asking is, who taught your parents to save money? And it was the banks. Banks are the ones that told us and told our parents to save our money. Why? Because when you put your money in the savings account, then they're able to use that money for mortgages, for auto rates, for business loans, for this, for that. They're able to use that money. And that's why they give you a little percentage, saying like, oh, thank you for putting your money here. This is what you get. I'm getting, a whole bunch of percentage on mortgage rates and on cars, and you're just getting 0.006%. Thank you very much. So that's kind of want to give you a little idea. Now, this guy that I was talking to you about, that he was talking, he actually made $2 million. He said, I think he said he made $2 million that year. And I remember this clearly. I have a good memory, especially when people talk about important stuff. And he told me, I don't save money, not in savings account at least. He said the way that I have money saved up for an emergency is I have a line of credit, a $50,000 line of credit. He said if for whatever reason one day I needed to, spend that emergency money on something, a hospital bill, somebody got sick or this and that, then I would have $50,000 to pay. And then when he said, when you pay it, a lot of people started asking, what's the first thing about, what's the scariness about having a credit card, the interest rate, right? But then he started saying, the beauty about a credit card is that it's a revolving credit. Meaning if you spend $50,000 tomorrow on an emergency, and then you pay off per se $10,000 because he's making $2 million. He could easily say he makes $10,000 in a week or whatever, and he puts that back on that credit card. Then he has that extra $10,000 again. So he has $10,000 back in his emergency fund that he can use again if he ever needed it. And then what he said, he was like, then I would get focused, then I would get back to work and, make sure that the emergency's gone and then start paying that credit card off. Because people right away go like, I have to pay 16% or 20-something% on my credit card, and that's crazy, that's crazy. Not if you use it smartly. There's bad debt and there's good debt. If you're able to utilize credit cards, to the best way that you can, then why not? And that's an option. Of course, I'm not telling you do this, do that. It's personal. You can say, hey, I have $50,000 in cash right now for my emergency. And that's how I like it. That's not going to change. That's not going to change my point of view. No, I'm not saying what to do. I'm just saying there's options out there, and it made sense to me. I'm not going to have a $50,000 emergency credit line, but I could have a $5,000 one. And if I were to max out $5,000 credit line limit, my payment would be $200 or $300 or whatever it would be. I would be able to do it, and it would give me more time to pay it all off. Because how long would it take me to save up $5,000 or $10,000 for emergency money? I gotta be honest, it wouldn't take me a month or two. It would take me, a longer time. So the important aspect of that is like make sure your credit is good. Make sure there's ways to clean up your credit. All you have to do is Google. There's ways to clean up your credit, so there's no problem that can't be solved. Every problem has a solution, and having good credit, it's a good way to leverage. Because I saw this and it made sense to me. Now the money that I have saved up, it's for opportunities. It's for me to reinvest it in something that I have an idea, or I invested in myself, in books, in businesses, in other people if I have to. I'm open to all that. I'm open to all that if it makes sense to me. And for example, I have investors right now with some of my companies that I have. I have investors right now, and I go to them, and some of them are my friends, some of them are people close to me, some of them are family members, and with some we weren't able to break a deal, for one reason or another, and I wasn't like, well, we can't be friends, or you're not my best friend anymore, or this and that. That's not it. Business is business. Friendship is a different thing. But you learn from it. Now, I have some people, some investors that go like, you have an idea, here's the money, make it work, and get it done. Well, I have some other ones that are like, let's do this right. We put it all in paper. We do this the correct way. We do, what happens if this happens? What happens if that happens? Like, they want to know everything, and that's okay, because ultimately it's their money, and they decide if they're gonna give it to you or not. And they could ask as many questions. They could be as clear as they can. They want you to clear everything in the contract, or everything that you're gonna do with their money. And if everything checks out, then okay, there's the money. You go ahead, take care, and let's both make money. See, when you deal with investors, it has to be a win-win situation for the both of you guys. It can't be just a win for me. It can't be just a win for them, because then there wouldn't be a thing for investors. There wouldn't be no opportunities. So every time I look for an investor, and I always look for them, I look for them because I like the experience. I like to see what people have in their mind. I like to see how some people react to different opportunities. Some people go like, hey, that's not enough. You got to up the percentage. And you're like, well, that doesn't work for me. Or some people go like, hey, what are you going to do with my money? And that's not fast enough. Can you do this? Can you do that? And you go like, well, You know, it's my business idea, so you know, like I can't change my business plan because you're gonna give me the money. That's not how it works. So from time to time, you know, if when you go out to investors and you have an idea, it's okay to look for investors. You know, if because a lot of people realize that, you know, if they leave their money out there just sitting there not doing anything, then it's gonna get spent whether they use it or not. Inflation is there, so it's always good if you have an idea, if you want to learn something new and you have some money saved up, you want to learn something new, something legit, you know, something you see online that goes like, hey, win some money. You know, I mean, not win some money, but like do this and start earning more money. You know, be open to it. I go online on Facebook, actually on Facebook all the time, and I'm constantly saving links while I'm at work. While I have a little bit of free time, while I'm at lunch, well, usually at lunch I read the books that I'm reading, but sometimes, you know, when I'm, uh, you know, distracted, and there's times that I don't want to read or I want to do something else, I look online and I see, hey, this guy does this. I'm going to teach you how to do that. And I save that link. And then I look at his little video saying what exactly he does. And if I like it and if I'm interested, I look at the details. You know, they always charge money. But if it makes sense, if you think you can do it, then why not do it? You're going to think that you're going to get, like a lot of people's fear is right away, is this a scam? Am I gonna pay $100 to this guy to teach me how to do this, and then I'm gonna be scammed of $100? I mean, you have to do your due diligence. Every time I go into one, I always look to make sure that if I don't like it, I have a certain amount of time that I get my money back. That if I decide, hey, this isn't for me, then I can get my whole money back. And I look to see if other people have done it. I look to see if there's any ratings. I email them and say, hey, I'm thinking about this product, but like, you know, I'm unsure. Like, ask them questions. They're normal people that have learned how to make a little bit of money doing something like this, doing something like that. And and they're open to share it now so they can make money and help people learn it as well. Those are the real opportunities, not the ones that you go like, I'll pay this and you'll become a millionaire in 6 hours, in a day, in a week. Stay away from those. I don't go near those. But I do look at stuff that are going to teach me more, that are going to open up more opportunities for me, even if I'll need investors. Because one day I'll be an investor myself. One day I'll have, one day I'll have some money, and then people like me are gonna come up and be like, hey, I have this idea, and if everything checks out, I'll be like, well, why not? If it makes me money. So I just want to talk a little bit about skepticism and scams and all this. It's always good to do your due diligence. You know, there are people out there, you know, unfortunately, that are just looking out to prey on people to take their hard-earned money. But then there's a lot of other stuff that you can do to make extra money. I get a lot of messages on my Facebook that say, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing to, to get this money?" Because I put it out there. When I make a transaction, when my business, pays me and this and that, I put it on my Facebook, not to show off, but to basically give you inspiration, saying that, it can be done. It can be done. At some point I'll do it, and I'm gonna continue to do it. And everybody that wants guidance and a little bit of mentorship, and I'm here. As well as I want people to be there for me as well. Like I said, I don't know everything. I don't think I know everything, but that's just kind of what I wanted to go through today. I'm running out of time. I don't want to make these videos a lot long, and they should be. But I do want to show you guys, The Richest Man in Babylon. That's one of the 3 books that I tell you to read. And I have it there with me so you guys know, like, hey, he really does have it. He does read it. And it's not just me telling you guys, do this, do that, and I'm not doing it, because I am doing it. I'll also leave the links out here in the bottom. and hope to see you guys next week on the peer-to-peer mentoring. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you guys next week, hopefully on Sunday night.